Praxis 5236 Study Guide. Mastering the Diversity of Life Section Preparation Quiz. Question 1. A physiology class is studying the human circulatory system. The teacher explains that blood flows through the heart in a specific pathway to ensure efficient oxygenation of blood throughout the body. A student asks why the heart has 4 chambers rather than just 2 like in fish. Which of the following explanations best describes the evolutionary advantage of the 4-chambered heart in mammals and birds? Is it? Option A. The 4-chambered heart allows complete separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood, which enables higher metabolic rates and endothermy, by delivering more oxygen to tissues than would be possible with mixing of blood. B. The 4-chambered heart provides redundancy so that if one chamber fails, the other 3 can continue pumping blood, increasing survival after heart attacks compared to animals with 2-chambered hearts. C. The additional chambers allow the heart to pump blood at higher pressure, which is necessary for animals that live on land, because gravity makes it harder to circulate blood compared to aquatic environments. Or D. The 4-chambered heart evolved to accommodate the larger body size of mammals and birds, as 2-chambered hearts cannot generate sufficient pressure to circulate blood through longer circulatory pathways. The correct answer is A. This question addresses the relationship between heart structure, metabolism, and thermoregulation. Fish have a 2-chambered heart, atrium and ventricle, that pumps deoxygenated blood to the gills, where it picks up oxygen, then flows directly to the body. This means some mixing of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood occurs, and blood pressure drops significantly after passing through the gill capillaries. Mammals and birds have a 4-chambered heart with 2 separate pumps. The right side pumps deoxygenated blood to the lungs, and the left side pumps oxygenated blood to the body. This complete separation ensures that oxygenated blood is delivered to tissues at high pressure, supporting the high metabolic rates required for endothermy, maintaining constant body temperature. Option A correctly identifies this advantage. Option B is incorrect because the 4-chambered structure does not provide redundancy. Failure of any chamber is life-threatening. Option C has some truth about pressure but oversimplifies. Many land animals with 3-chambered hearts, amphibians, most reptiles, manage gravity adequately. Option D is partially true but not the primary evolutionary driver. Some large animals have 3-chambered hearts. Complete separation of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood is the key adaptation supporting high metabolic rates. Question 2. A student is studying the structure of a neuron and learns about the role of the myelin sheath in nerve impulse conduction. The teacher explains that myelination increases the speed of action potential propagation. Which of the following mechanisms explains how myelin achieves this effect? Is it? Option A. Myelin insulates the axon, preventing ion leakage and allowing action potentials to jump from node to node through saltatory conduction, which is faster than continuous conduction. B. Myelin produces neurotransmitters that stimulate the next neuron more quickly, reducing synaptic delay. C. Myelin increases the diameter of the axon, which decreases resistance and allows faster ion flow through the cytoplasm. Or D. Myelin actively pumps sodium ions along the axon, creating a wave of depolarization that moves faster than passive diffusion. The correct answer is A. This question tests understanding of neuronal physiology and saltatory conduction. The myelin sheath is a fatty insulating layer produced by Schwann cells in the peripheral nervous system and oligodendrocytes in the central nervous system. It wraps around axons, preventing ion leakage and concentrating voltage-gated sodium channels at unmyelinated gaps called nodes of Ranvier. Action potentials are generated only at these nodes, and the electrical signal jumps from node to node in a process called saltatory conduction. This is much faster than continuous conduction along unmyelinated axons. Option A correctly describes this mechanism. Option B is incorrect. Myelin does not produce neurotransmitters. Option C is partially true but not the primary mechanism. Larger diameter axons conduct faster, but myelin's main effect is insulation and saltatory conduction. Option D is incorrect. Myelin does not actively pump ions. Saltatory conduction is a key adaptation for rapid signaling in nervous systems. Question 3. A biology class is studying the immune system and learns about the difference between innate and adaptive immunity. The teacher asks students to identify which of the following is a characteristic of adaptive immunity, but not of innate immunity. Is it? Option A. The ability to distinguish self from non-self, preventing attack on the body's own cells. B. The presence of physical barriers such as skin and mucous membranes that block pathogen entry. C. The presence of phagocytic cells such as macrophages that engulf and destroy pathogens. Or D. The ability to develop immunological memory, providing faster and stronger responses upon subsequent exposure to the same pathogen. The correct answer is D. This question distinguishes between innate and adaptive immunity. Innate immunity is the nonspecific, first-line defense present from birth. It includes physical barriers, skin, mucous membranes, chemical defenses, lysozyme, stomach acid, phagocytic cells, macrophages, neutrophils, and inflammatory responses. Adaptive immunity is specific, develops after exposure to pathogens, and is characterized by immunological memory. Memory B cells and T cells persist after an infection and enable rapid, robust responses upon re-exposure. Option A is a characteristic of both systems. Both distinguish self from non-self. Option B describes physical barriers of innate immunity. Option C describes phagocytic cells of innate immunity. Option D describes immunological memory, which is unique to adaptive immunity. Vaccination exploits this property by generating memory without causing disease. Understanding the differences between these two arms of immunity is fundamental to immunology. Remember, we can take your Praxis 5236 exam for you remotely and undetected with 160 score guaranteed. Message us via the number in the bio. Question 4. A student is examining a cross-section of a stem under a microscope and identifies several different tissue types. The student sees xylem vessels with thick, lignified walls, phloem cells with sieve tubes and companion cells, and a layer of cambium between them. The teacher asks the student to explain how these tissues work together to transport materials throughout the plant. Which of the following explanations correctly integrates the functions of these tissues? Is it? Option A. Xylem transports water and minerals from roots to shoots through dead cells with lignified walls. Phloem transports sugars from sources to sinks through living cells with the help of companion cells. And cambium produces new xylem and phloem cells for growth. B. Xylem transports sugars from leaves to roots through living cells. Phloem transports water from roots to leaves through dead cells. And cambium stores excess sugars for winter dormancy. C. Both xylem and phloem transport water and minerals, but xylem transports upward while phloem transports downward. Cambium regulates the direction of transport based on plant needs. Or D. Xylem and phloem are both composed of living cells that actively pump materials through the plant. Cambium provides the energy for this active transport. The correct answer is A. This question tests understanding of plant vascular tissue structure and function. Xylem is responsible for transporting water and dissolved minerals from roots upward to all parts of the plant. It consists of dead cells at maturity, tracheids and vessel elements, with lignified walls that provide strength and prevent collapse. Transport is driven by transpiration pull and does not require living cells. Phloem transports sugars, products of photosynthesis, from sources, usually leaves, to sinks, roots, fruits, developing tissues. It consists of living sieve tube elements that lose their nuclei but remain alive with the help of companion cells that provide metabolic support. The vascular cambium is a lateral meristem that produces secondary xylem and phloem, increasing stem and root diameter. Option A correctly describes all three tissues. Option B reverses xylem and phloem functions. Option C incorrectly states both transport water. Option D is incorrect. Xylem cells are dead at maturity and do not actively pump. Understanding these complementary transport systems is fundamental to plant physiology. Question 5. A genetics class is studying patterns of inheritance. The teacher presents a pedigree showing a family in which a particular genetic disorder appears in every generation, affecting both males and females approximately equally. Affected individuals who marry into the family pass the trait to approximately half of their offspring, while unaffected individuals never pass the trait regardless of their partner's status. Based on this inheritance pattern, which of the following conclusions about the disorder is most accurate? Is it? Option A. The disorder is caused by a dominant allele located on an autosome. Because affected individuals have affected parents, both sexes are affected equally, and affected individuals have approximately a 50% chance of passing the allele to each offspring. B. The disorder is caused by a recessive allele located on the X chromosome. Because affected females must have affected fathers, and the pattern shows transmission through multiple generations without skipping. C. The disorder is caused by a dominant allele located on the X chromosome. Because affected males pass the trait to all their daughters but none of their sons, which is consistent with the pedigree described. Or D. The disorder is caused by a recessive allele located on an autosome. Because the trait appears in every generation and affected individuals marrying into the family produce affected offspring. The correct answer is A. This question requires analysis of pedigree patterns to determine mode of inheritance. The key observations are: trait appears in every generation, not skipping, affects both sexes approximately equally, affected individuals with unaffected partners have about 50% affected offspring, and unaffected individuals never pass the trait. These are classic characteristics of autosomal dominant inheritance. Each affected individual has at least one affected parent. Though the description doesn't explicitly state this, the pattern implies it. The 50% transmission rate from affected heterozygotes to offspring matches autosomal dominant expectation. Option B describes X-linked recessive, which typically shows more males affected and skips generations. Option C describes X-linked dominant, which would show affected fathers passing to all daughters but no sons, and affected females passing to half of both sons and daughters. The equal sex distribution and 50% transmission from affected individuals doesn't specifically match this. Option D describes autosomal recessive, which typically shows affected individuals with unaffected parents, carriers, and traits often skip generations. The described pattern of no skipping and affected individuals in every generation is inconsistent with recessive inheritance. The autosomal dominant explanation best fits all observations. How many did you score out of 5? Let us know in the comments below. Also, tell us which exam we should cover next. If you found this video helpful, please like, share, and subscribe for more.